What if I told you that you're only 1 or 2 changes away from losing 10, 20, or even 30 pounds of fat? That might sound too good to be true, but over the years I've helped hundreds of men lose thousands of pounds, and less than 1% of them had to overhaul their life to get amazing results. So full screen the video, lock in, and I'll walk you through the 6 most common fat loss traps that could be keeping you stuck. We're starting with the one that's the easiest to fix and is going to have the biggest impact for the most people, and that's liquid calories. Specifically, I'm talking about soft drinks, juices, smoothies, fancy coffees, and alcohol. Because the brutal truth is you could be doing everything right with your diet and your exercise, but falling short of your goal because you're drinking 500 calories a day. And I see this all the time. In fact, I'll never forget when Adam joined my coaching program at the end of 2023. He already had a personal trainer. He was going to the gym 4 times a week, and he was consciously watching what he ate. So as you can imagine, he was super frustrated. But what he didn't realize was that the 2 Starbucks he had every day contained 600 calories. When I told him that, his jaw hit the floor. And the very next day, he gave them up and switched to black Americanos, which contained 5 calories each. Within days, Adam started to see the scale move, and then he just hit milestone after milestone. He fit into his wedding suit for the first time in 10 years. He dropped below 100 kg for the first time since his 20s. And just recently, he sent me a photo, which I'll put on the screen so you can see for yourself. Adam made one change and lost over 20 kg, which is nearly 50 pounds. So if you were skeptical at the start of this video, hopefully you're starting to believe me now. Most guys don't even realize that they're drinking their fat gain because we associate calories with food more than we do drinks. And of course, calories from drinks don't trigger fullness. And as I just mentioned, the wrong order from Starbucks can easily lead to you accidentally stacking those calories. And even healthy juices and smoothies will contain 250 plus calories, most of which is sugar and none of which is fiber. And alcohol is the worst of them, because not only does a pint of beer contain about 250 calories, which means just 4 of them on a night out could easily erase your weekly deficit or even put you into a surplus, but alcohol also shuts down fat burning for hours. It wrecks your sleep and it lowers your inhibitions, which means you're just more likely to smash a pizza at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Now, in my experience, just hearing how detrimental these liquid calories are is often more than enough incentive for guys to change their ways. And the solution is really straightforward. Strip it back to the essentials: water, black coffee, diet sodas, or 0-calorie drinks. And then save the alcohol for rare occasions and plan around it. So if this has been your problem, I've got a challenge for you. For the next 7 days, try to have 0 liquid calories and watch what happens to your weight and your energy. Because for most guys, this is the first big holy moment where fat loss actually starts. Number 2 sounds so obvious, but it's been such a Homer Simpson duh moment for so many of my clients that you might be making the same mistake. And that's underestimating your portion sizes. The chances are you're not overeating because you're out of control. You're overeating because you're guessing. You think you're having just a little, but that little is 2 to 3 times what it should be. The challenge is knowing where to look, because the problem often isn't your main meals. We know that pizza and fast food is loaded with calories, but what most guys don't realize is just how small the recommended portion sizes are of the food that we eat every day. For example, have you ever actually measured out 30 grams of cereal and seen just how small it is? Well, I did it for you, and here it is. Pretty pathetic, right? Most guys don't pour a serving, they pour a bowl. And that bowl is normally 2 to 3 times, doubling or even tripling the number of calories they think they're having. And that's not even the worst one. 1 handful of chips is around 200 calories. 1 handful. And you know what's even crazier? I just asked ChatGPT, and if you wanted to burn that off, it would take you about 20 minutes of running on the treadmill or 30 minutes of walking for 1 handful. Then there's olive oil. So you might be cooking healthy homemade meals, but did you know that there's 120 calories in 1 tablespoon of olive oil? That means if you cook with a splash at lunch and dinner, you could easily be adding 300 calories to your day without even realizing it. And what about honey? Everyone talks about how honey contains healthy sugar and antioxidants, which is absolutely true, but I only have 10 grams of honey a day. Why? Because 10 grams contains 30 calories. So if you're there lathering it on everything that you have because some other YouTuber told you it was healthy and would help with fat loss, stop. And what's crazy is that those are just a few examples. You want to watch out for butter, cheese, chocolate, peanut butter, and even several fruits like avocados and dates. If you're eating any of these regularly, just pause the video right now and go and look at the labels. Shocking, right? But again, Don't worry, the solution is simple. We don't need to see food as good or bad. We don't need to cut anything out either. We just need to be mindful of food that is ultra high in calories. Read the label before you eat anything and use a food scale to weigh everything out. And this isn't forever, just long enough to retrain your eyes and build portion awareness. And if you don't have one, you can pick one up on Amazon for literally like $10. And the difference between weighing your food and not weighing your food is literally this. Once you've weighed your food out for a week, you will never look at a healthy snack the same way again. You'll start seeing where the calories are really coming from and exactly what you need to change. And if you're still struggling with portion control after this first week, start using smaller plates, bowls, and cutleries, because behavioral psychology has proven that this can lower food intake by 10 to 20% without doing anything else. The third trap that I see a lot of guys fall into is the hunger one. They really want to lose the weight. They're tracking their calories, they're hitting the gym, they're getting their steps in, and they're good with their food for 5 or 6 days. But they're hungry all the time, they're low on energy, and they feel like they can't stay full, even though they're eating decent sized meals. Well, if that sounds like you, don't worry, because this is actually a really easy one to solve. The reason you're so hungry is because your meals are missing the 3 things that you need to promote metabolic efficiency and fullness. And that's PFW: protein, fiber, water. Protein stabilizes your blood sugar, preserves muscle, and has the highest thermic effect of food, which just means it takes the most calories for your body to digest it and break it down. Fiber's great for adding bulk to your meals without adding calories. It also slows down digestion because your body finds it difficult to break it down. Plus, it reduces blood sugar crashes and it even supports your gut health. While water helps regulate hunger signals, supports digestion, and prevents thirst being confused for hunger. And without these 3, it's very common that you'll feel good for 30 to 60 minutes, but then you'll start looking for the snacks. And most guys aren't hitting anywhere near what their body needs, but you really want to build your meals around these 3. You want a bare minimum of 100 grams of protein per day. But if you really want to optimize for fat loss, you can go all the way up to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And if you don't know, the best sources of protein are lean meats, fish, dairy, and eggs. For fiber, most guys are probably getting 10 to 15 grams, but you want to double that and aim for about 30 a day. Think berries, veg, oats, and beans. And water, well, that's the biggest problem out of the 3, to be honest with you, because most guys are walking around severely dehydrated every single day without even realizing it. Maybe if they're lucky, they drink 1 liter and the rest is made up of coffee and energy drinks. But if you want to optimize for fat loss and perform at your best, then you want to be drinking at least 3 liters of water every single day, which, just to give you some context, is 2 bottles like this. And if you add some electrolytes into the mix, now you're cooking. I can't emphasize this one enough, guys. Start building your meals around these 3, because this one shift will transform not just how full you feel, but it will also make your deficit feel effortless. Number 4 might sound a little bit bizarre, but you'd be amazed how many guys are falling into this trap. Let me paint you a picture and you tell me if this sounds like you. You've woken up one morning, you've looked in the mirror, and you've thought, this needs to change. Today's the day. I'm going on a diet. So you slash your calories and you cut out all the food you love, which for most guys means carbs. And then the next day, you're up at 4 a.m., you're listening to David Goggins' podcasts, and you're screaming, "Who's going to carry the boats?" to strangers in the street. After 1 week, you jump on the scales and you've lost 3 or 4 pounds. And you're absolutely buzzing. You feel proper smug and proud of yourself. Weight loss. That's easy, mate. So you spend the whole of week 2 walking around like you've got a 12-inch. But when you jump on the scales after another week, your weight hasn't changed. Completely flatline. 0. Nada. Nothing. Enraged, upset, and embarrassed, you storm off. You throw a hissy fit. Maybe you cry a little bit, but don't worry, that's okay. Big boys cry too. You blame your genetics, you give up, and you eat a massive pizza. But what actually happened? Slashing your calories definitely helped you to create a deficit, but dropping your carbs meant that there was nothing in your body for the water to hold on to. So whilst you might have lost 3 or 4 pounds, only 1 or 2 of them was actually fat. And by the end of week 2, your body was fighting back. Low energy, a lack of motivation, and a lot less movement means that you're not burning enough calories to sustain the deficit that you created last week. So your progress stalls. Worse still, you're feeling sluggish, moody, exhausted, and left craving food. And what felt like a walk in the park after a week now feels like you're running through hell. You see, drastically dropping your calories and cutting out entire food groups is not a long-term solution. If you're anything like the private clients I have, I know fat loss is important to you, but the number 1 priority is feeling good. And feeling good comes from creating a sustainable approach, not following another fad diet. So instead of falling for the hunger trap, see your calories for what they are. fuel. You need to be in a calorie deficit to lose body fat. We all know that, right? And you can calculate that very easily by multiplying your goal body weight in pounds by 12. But trust me, extreme deficits are not the answer. I know as men we want the end product yesterday, but the guys who get the end product aren't treating this like a race. They're thinking, how can I make this as easy as possible? How can I make this so easy that I don't even have to think about it? So what they're really looking for, and what you should be looking for, is the minimum effective dose. Rather than focusing on the time it takes them to get there or the speed that they're traveling at, they're focused on their direction and the trajectory that they're going in. So they're thinking, what's the least amount of work that I can do to get a little bit of traction and a little bit of movement in the right direction every single week? And the answer for most guys is a 500 calorie deficit with plenty of carbs built in to give us the energy to smile through the process. Think about it. Have you ever wondered why the keto, carnivore, and vegan communities are always so angry? You've seen it online, and if you haven't, just go and read the comments on my YouTube videos. It's because they hate their life. They've cut out all the good stuff. And now they're just too far down the rabbit hole and too proud to simply put their hand up and say, I was wrong. I like carbs. You don't need to live in a 1200 calorie hole. You need to fuel the machine so that you have the energy and the drive to get up and move. Moderate calorie deficit with 80% of your food coming from single ingredient, whole, nutrient dense produce, and 20% coming from the snacks and treats that you love and look forward to. Because it's that 20% that's going to make the 80% sustainable. Couple that with 8,000 steps a day and 2 to 3 30-minute workouts, and you'll lose 1 to 2 pounds of fat a week like clockwork, without even trying. Trust me, the all or nothing mentality is overrated. Number 5 leads nicely on from number 4, and I'm just going to come out and say it. If you've been mentally ticking the boxes as we've been going through this video and thinking, nope, that's not my problem, then I hate to be the one to tell you this, but you're just not in a deficit. You're probably eating home-cooked meals, real food, clean food, organic. Congratulations, you've just won buzzword Jenga. A healthy doesn't always mean low calorie. We've already talked about the hidden calorie bombs, and some of them, like avocados, olive oil, honey, and coconuts, are considered healthy. But if you have no idea how many calories you're actually eating, you could spend the next few months or even years thinking you're doing everything right and spinning your wheels, when the whole time the solution is staring you in the face. Track your calories. I know it's tedious, I know it's boring, but I'm not expecting you to do it for the rest of your life. Just start by running a 3-day food audit and track everything that enters your mouth. Because once you do this, you'll not only realize that tracking your calories is actually really easy and only takes 5 minutes a day, but you'll also see that you were accidentally overeaten by 1,000 calories a day. And I'm not just pulling that figure out of thin air. This was an actual study that was done in real life, where the participants were found to underreport how much they ate a day by 1,000 calories. Not on purpose, out of sheer ignorance. And this food audit will blow your mind. It'll show you crazy stuff, like how a healthy salad can easily have 1,000 calories in it, or just how many calories are in the butter that you're spreading on your brown toast that you're eating because it's healthy. Honestly, this one does my head in because you're already doing the hard work. Tracking isn't difficult and it's nowhere near as time consuming as you think it's going to be. So stop putting it off, stop procrastinating, just download MyFitnessPal and do it for the next 3 days. Because if you've honestly been doing everything right, but you haven't been doing this is going to be a game changer for you. The last one is the scariest, and unfortunately, I'm seeing it more and more these days. Now, I'm not going to lie, this one might sting a little bit, but it's not my job to be your friend. It's my job to be honest with you. If you've ticked most of the boxes in this video, but you're still not seeing results, it might be because you're just too comfortable. The thing is, though, it's not even your fault. Modern life is designed for this. You work from home, you sit all day, you order food to your house, you drive everywhere, and the most movement you get is from your desk to your fridge. You might be training 3 times a week, but outside of that, bro, you're basically a high-functioning potato. This kind of sedentary comfort is one of the biggest fat loss killers there is. But at the end of the day, nothing changes until the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. We have to create what I call the discomfort gap, the gap between where you are right now and where you want to get to. And to do that, you need a goal. Not, oh, it'd be nice if I lost a few pounds this year. I'm talking something specific, measurable, and tangible, because generic goals equals generic effort and mediocre results. Without a clear and painful reason to act, you'll procrastinate and self-sabotage. You can do absolutely everything I've laid out in this video today and easily lose 1 to 2 pounds of fat a week like clockwork. But if you don't make it a clear, tangible goal and a focal point of your life, you won't do it. And if you're not emotionally attached to a specific outcome, you won't stay the course when motivation dips. Because the sad reality is all men are warriors, but unfortunately right now, most of them don't have a battle to fight. And I'm a firm believer that the worst thing you can take from a man is his purpose, but no one is going to give you purpose. You have to give it to yourself. So the first thing that I want you to do is sit down with a blank sheet of paper and decide, What do I actually want? Losing 10 pounds in the next 10 weeks might not be the end goal, but it'd be a great start, wouldn't it? It would help you build the momentum. It would prove to yourself that you can do this, and it would open your mind to the possibility of achieving bigger goals. And when the goal becomes real, your brain shifts from wishing it to executing on it. But here's where most guys go wrong. They think the answer is more exercise, another HIIT class, more cardio, extra gym sessions. But that's not the answer. You don't need more exercise. You need more movement. Because the truth is, most of the calories that you burn every day don't come from training. They come from everything else that you do or don't do. It's called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And it's just a fancy way of saying you're moving your body like a human instead of living like a potato. And if you've got 23 hours of stillness wrapped around 1 hour of workout, you're not burning enough. You have to start living more consciously, more intentionally. You have to break the pattern of modern comfort and inject movement back into your life. Not as a punishment, as a baseline. So here's what that looks like in real life. Walk during phone calls. Start taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Park further away on purpose. Play with your kids like you're one of them. Carry your shopping bags rather than putting them in a trolley like a child. Walk in the mornings to wake yourself up or after work to decompress. You don't need to run marathons. You just need to move more. Start tracking your steps with a watch or your phone. Don't guess, don't assume. Aim for 8,000 a day and break it up however you want. That could be 2,000 in the morning, 4,000 during the day, and another 2,000 in the evening. It's up to you. Walking might feel like nothing, but when paired with a slight calorie deficit, you'll be burning fat in the background without even realizing it. The bottom line, stop thinking like a gym bro and start thinking like a human. Movement isn't a workout. It's your default setting. So make it deliberate, conscious, and non-negotiable. Because if your goal is real, your behavior will start to reflect it. Trust me, once that switch flips, there's no going back. But if you're tired of trying to figure it all out on your own and want me to help you install a system into your life that not only gets you amazing results, but makes it easy for you to hold on to them, then click the link under this video so you can check out exactly how my coaching program works and see if it's a good fit for you. Or you can click here and watch this video to see exactly how I help Ben lose 22 pounds in just 10 weeks. Either way, I'll catch you soon.